Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your monthly intuitive reading for February 2021. For this month's monthly reading, we'll be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Star Temple Oracle deck by Susie Cherub. So let's go ahead and take a look at what your stones of choice are for this particular monthly reading. Okay, these are all special intention pendants that I have created. I know a lot of you that have been watching my weekly and monthly videos for some time know that sometimes I show these gold or silver wire wrapped pendants for your special stones of choice. Now this one here is Golden Healer, the Golden Healer. Now the Golden Healer is usually gold with some white. This one is more of a clear white with some gold. And with the intentions that I put in them, I'm just going to give you what those are. And this particular pendant, wrapped in gold wire, this Golden Healer, is wrapped in gold wire and Reiki charged with the vibration of the number 8, the number of empowerment and leadership. Also, it's infused with the number 9, number of unconditional love and compassion. Has the energy of the sign of Libra infused into it for balance and harmony in relationship interactions. The activation of the throat and the heart chakras for the balance of speaking one's truth from the heart and saying what one really means, but with gentleness and love. And infused into it through Reiki is the energy of Archangel Michael for strength and leadership, as well as Archangel Raphael for healing relationships, and Archangel Gabriel for a healthy and balanced communication. Your second pendant of choice here is this Aqua Aura pendant, Aqua Aura crystal. This is wrapped in silver, and it has been Reiki charged with the vibration of Master number 22, the number of spiritual power on all planes, and the energy of the Master Builder. It has infused into it the energies of the planet Uranus, the planet of higher dimensional energies and connection to the God mind. The opening and balancing of the throat, ears, and crown chakras for speaking one's truth, increased clairaudience or clear hearing, and receiving higher information and messages from the angelic realm. And it has infused into it Archangel Michael's energy of protection against psychic attack or energy drain, as well as leading one to the next step on your highest and most important destiny path. And then your last pendant of choice. This one has been recently wrapped here. They've all been quite recently wrapped, but this one especially. This one is citrine. Beautiful, cut, polished, pretty large piece of citrine. This is wrapped in gold, and it's Reiki charged with the vibration of the number 3 for creative self-expression in all forms of communication, including writing, speaking, and teaching. The vibration of Master number 11, the number of the lightworker and the visionary, the number that brings balance and heightened connection to the psychic senses. The healing energies of Chiron infused into this pendant to heal all past life wounds of the self, the qualities of the fire element for confidence, courage, and leadership, and the energies of Archangel Gabriel, who is the angel that supports and inspires those with a life purpose involved in communications, and also with Archangel Michael, who leads us to the next step of our highest and most important destiny path. So again, your pendants of choice are the Golden Healer, the Aqua Aura, which is a beautiful light blue colored stone, and the citrine. So let's talk about the energy of the month of February. Now, this is an energy of the number 7, and how we get that is by taking the universal year number of 2021, which is a 5. If you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1, we get that 5 universal year vibration for the collective, which is all about freedom, change, redirection, new opportunities. and a lot of things going on, a lot of busyness kind of going on, a lot of activities, or juggling many things is what the number 5 is all about. Change and freedom are the biggest key words. And then we take that 5 universal year energy, we add it to the month in question, and this is February, the second month. So 5 plus 2, we get a 7. So the numerology vibration for February is a 7. And what is the 7 all about? The 7, very different from the 5. The 7 is about internal contemplation. It's about going within in silence and in meditation. And it is looking at our own perceptions, looking at our own belief systems. It's a very shamanistic number to me. The number 7 is emotional, mental, and spiritual all wrapped up into one. And that mental level part of the 7 tells us that February is going to have a lot of thought process energy going on right now, which makes sense because when we talk about the astrology, we're going to talk about Mercury being retrograde for the first 20 days of February in Aquarius. And Mercury rules the mental realm. It rules our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions. And so it makes sense that with this 7 vibration on a mental level, that we are dealing with a lot of going within to sort out what it is that we think, what it is that we're really perceiving. And the importance of the spiritual aspect of the 7 is the idea of trust and faith. So if we don't see something with our own 2 eyes physically, we have to have trust and faith that there's something happening, there's something germinating beneath the surface, there's something leading and guiding us. And that's that spiritual aspect of the number 7. It's about belief and trust in yourself and in life and in the divine timing of things that are unfolding. And then, of course, the emotional aspect of the 7. It's an internal emotional number. I wouldn't say it's expressed outwardly necessarily as much. It doesn't mean you're not going to express outwardly emotionally. But this is about an inner emotional review. This is about going deep within into the subconscious realm, which is quite the emotional realm too, right? And looking at what our subconscious patterns are, our subconscious responses to certain situations and events. And so again, the number 7 it's all about self-reflection and connecting with your higher soul self in a stronger way in order to do an inner soul journey or an inner soul healing. Okay, so you might feel in part, which is again counterintuitive to the fact that we have 5 planets for a good deal of February in Aquarius, because Aquarius is a very mental, social, networking with groups of people and groups of like mind kind of sign. But the 7 also says that we're kind of pulling our energies inward and doing this kind of inward kind of processing and journey and healing. So there's going to be a combination again of these energies going on. The 7th Major Arcana, let's bring that in for a minute. The 7th Major Arcana, since this is what the month of February vibrates to, is the Chariot. And I pulled that actually out of the Syrian Starseed Tarot. And actually, when we get to the reading, before I pulled this out of the Syrian Starseed Tarot to show you the vibration, I just drew the cards for the month of February 1st. And actually, this was the first card. So we're going to bring it up again when we start that portion of the reading. But as far as the numerology vibration being a number 7 and it being ruled by the Chariot card, the Chariot card usually in traditional tarot has a chariot like you see here with a person inside. Usually the traditional tarot has one white horse pulling in one direction and one black horse pulling in the other direction. And that's representative of our higher soul self, the light side, the white horse, and our shadow side, our ego side, if you will, the shadow of the ego, which is the black horse. And the idea of the Chariot is that we're continuing to move forward. But if one horse is pulling in one direction and the other horse is pulling in the other direction, you're not moving forward very fast. You're not moving forward in a clear, focused way, in a clear direction. Now, this particular Chariot card has 5 horses. And I like this one because not only does it have 2 horses pulling to the right and 2 horses pulling to the left, but it has one horse that's straight away, focused, ahead, pulling forward. So all we have to do now, because now we at least have one of those horses that is got a clear focus of where they want to go next. Now we have to bring the other horses into alignment with that one middle horse in order to move forward faster and more productively than we can with the horses pulling in these different and opposing directions. So again, we have, our higher soul self side, that higher, if you want to call it 5th dimensional kind of energy. And then we have the regular 3rd dimensional energy that we're used to living in and that the ego is used to operating in, the shadow side where our doubts and fears reside. We have that part of us as well pulling the other way. We still have a lack of clarity with a good deal of what's going on the collective level since 2020, right? We don't have all the answers yet. But if we can stay focused on what our truth is and what our path forward is, what direction we want to go in, and we can kind of pull those doubts and fears of the shadow of the ego and what our higher soul self says our truth is in order to move forward, then we'll be able to plow full steam ahead through this month of February to where we need to go next. We have some yellow. I was looking at the colors down here at the bottom. The yellow, the orange. Sacral chakra is the orange, our creative self-expression and our passion for life. And of course, the golden yellow is the solar plexus chakra, our empowerment, our center of personal power, where our confidence and courage and leadership ability is. So those are the energies here of the Chariot for the month of February. Now let's talk about the astrological highlights for the month. So we have a lot of Aquarius energy. I guess I want to start out by saying that on January 30th, the second to the last day of January, Mercury, the planet of the mind again, that rules our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, turned to retrograde motion at 26 degrees of Aquarius. And it retrogrades back all the way to 11 degrees of Aquarius before it turns back to direct motion on February 20th. So for about these first 3 weeks, almost, of February, it's in retrograde motion. And what happens when Mercury is retrograde? It's a time to review, revise, redo, right? All of those rewords that we usually talk about. We often have technological difficulties, computers, phones kind of going a little haywire. Travel situations are not usually on time. We have missed meetings or miscommunication in general happening during a Mercury retrograde. This Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is that ruler of the God mind energy, the higher mind or God mind. It's an air sign, so it's all about, again, ideas, communication of a higher level, of a higher perspective. And Aquarius is the sign that rules humanitarian group endeavors. People of like mind, again, coming together and networking with a goal in mind to help the collective. Aquarius likes to help groups and help the collective. Aquarius isn't as good at helping people one-on-one. That's left to Libra. But Aquarius is about, again, the group collective and how can we help in a bigger and larger way? What ideas can we come up with? What new ideas can we come up with? What breakthroughs or scientific breakthroughs can we come up with in order to move forward for the betterment of humanity, to move in the right direction for the betterment of humanity? Now, this is for ourselves too, but usually for ourselves is what is best for humanity as well. What's good for you with the Aquarius here is connecting with people of like mind. Finding those new alliances, finding those new partnerships, and I mean more of a business light worker type of partnership here. One of the mind, a partnership of the mind. People with similar, focus or mentality of what can we do, what can we create, because Aquarius does like to create. It creates with the mind first, though. And then that mind creation turns into more of a manifestation later on, especially with the group effort, where two or more people come together, which forms a group, right? Is where we see more momentum, more positivity for change and redirection to occur. Now, I started out with the Mercury because it did go retrograde on January 30th, but by the time we hit the 1st of February, we have 5 planets in Aquarius now, because Jupiter and Saturn both went into Aquarius the second half of December of 2020, and Jupiter rules expansion and blessings and good fortune. Now, Saturn rules responsibility and restriction and limitation, but also law and order and learning of karmic lessons. But Saturn also is about manifestation. So both of those planets, which seem to be kind of opposites in energy, went into Aquarius, and they connected with one another, if you remember, on December 21st of 2020 at the 0 degree point of Aquarius. Now, as we're entering February, of course, we have Mercury in Aquarius, which we already talked about. We have the Sun in Aquarius, because this is the time of year that the Sun travels through the sign of Aquarius. And on the 1st of February, Venus moves into Aquarius. Now, what's Venus about? Venus is about love and relationships and personal resources like money and finances, but also personal resources like support from other people and other types of resources that we have at our disposal. Venus rules our values and our sense of self-value, how we value ourselves. Now, Aquarius, again, being that higher mind, God mind energy, humanitarian endeavors, energy of the collective, the strange, unusual, the different, the independent, the beating to the beat of your own drum, just kind of being your unique self and assisting, again, the group or humanity or the collective in some way. How can I help? What can I do? What's my part to play? Now, Venus tends to, I'm going to go through some Venus things. Venus is highlighted a little bit this month. After she moves into Aquarius on the 5th of February, she connects with Saturn. Saturn may bring some feelings of limitation and restriction to that Venus freedom. Again, that Aquarius energy is all about freedom. So the Venus freedom, the divine feminine freedom, might be restricted and limited in some way, shape, or form. But Saturn here with Venus can also bring something into manifestation. Any group endeavors, especially those within the divine feminine sphere. Now, it could be with females, with women. But remember, the divine feminine, everyone has the divine feminine within them. And Venus being that ruler of the divine feminine, there could be something, at least the beginning stages of manifestation with Saturn and Venus coming together on the 5th. And then on the 11th, Venus is going to connect with Jupiter. Remember, Jupiter is also in Aquarius. Now, this is great because Jupiter is known as the Great Benefic, or the planet of great blessings, and Venus is known as the Lesser Benefic, the planet also of blessings, maybe not to as grand of a scale as Jupiter, but still blessings. And so when those two planets are coming together, and to me, especially in the sign of Aquarius, I think some great things can expand, some great things can happen, some great things can to me, be created. This is, again, creations of the mind, ideas that are put into form. Saturn's already come into contact with Venus, so things are already starting to manifest. Whatever's starting to manifest earlier in the month, by the 11th, when Venus connects with Jupiter, I feel like can really expand. So all forms of communication and ideas is what you want to pay attention to and focus on. Put out your intentions. That's a form of ideas, right? Your intentions, you can put those out. You could write up something, write up a proposal for something. You could connect and communicate with other people, network, either in-person networking or on the phone networking or online networking. All of these things are going to produce something really grand here. And then on the 19th, Venus is going to challenge Mars. Now, these are the lovers. Venus is the feminine, Mars is the masculine. They're both in fixed, stubborn signs, and they kind of come to a head and butt heads a little bit. So there might be some sort of challenge coming up there in relationships, perhaps, but also maybe within finances and money situations, because Venus, again, does rule personal resources, including money. And where Mars is, which is the sign of Taurus, Taurus is also a money sign and also rules our personal resources. So there could be some sort of little challenge that comes about. Now, this doesn't last very long. Venus, challenges Mars, 2-3 days, and then it dissipates. So it's not a long-term kind of thing here. And then on the 25th, Venus will move into Pisces. So Venus will then move out of that Aquarius, that freedom, change, humanitarian energy, and then Venus moves into the sign of unconditional love and unconditional compassion and the spiritual, the creative, the artistic, the flowing, the romantic. So Venus can focus, especially in intimate relationships or romantic relationships in that way. Now, as far as her and focusing on money matters, Venus in Pisces says to have trust and faith, and that things may not seem what they appear. Did I say that right? Yes. Things may not be exactly as they appear, because Pisces brings in that illusion kind of effect sometimes, or confusing kind of effect sometimes. That's why we have to have trust and faith that whatever's going on is for our highest and best interest. Now let's look at Mercury for a minute. And I'm doing this a little bit different than I normally do. I don't know why, I'm just being guided to. But Mercury also is highlighted because it's retrograde for the first 20 days of February. And then when it goes direct, it's still going to be in its shadow side for the rest of February and into March before it's outside of the realm of the degree of where it first went retrograde. That's what we call the shadow period. So there's still loose ends being tied up even after February 20th when it goes direct. And, it'll be probably almost mid-March before things are settled, before things are cleared, before the communications are, pinpointed and understood clearly. So, it's not a good time to start a brand new project. Now, if you're already working on an existing project, then that's okay. But usually they say don't start anything new, brand new, during Mercury retrograde. Don't sign any contracts if you can help it, and you can put it off and wait until after it goes direct. Don't buy or make any big purchases, large monetary purchases while Mercury is retrograde, because a lot of times it's not what you expected. You have to return it. There's something wrong with it. So those are things that you want to pay attention to with Mercury retrograde in the month of February. Now, on the 10th, Mercury is going to challenge Mars. So Mercury, thoughts, ideas, Mars, energy, action, forward movement. He's the warrior. So there might be some mental frustrations going on around that day. The day before, the day after, the 10th. There might be some mental frustrations. There might even be a little bit of frustrating communications going on. Maybe some arguments, disagreements is a better word there. And then Mercury retrograde will connect on the 12th with Venus. So I think that this is going to bring up communications that maybe we've already had or discussed in some way, shape, or form. It's going to bring those and put them back on the table, especially in relationship matters or in relationships with people, group endeavors, humanitarian endeavors. To me, this can be a positive thing. This is like working out differences or working out the details within a group endeavor or within a relationship of any kind. And then on the 14th, Mercury connects with Jupiter. Again, Jupiter brings in these blessings and it expands things. Here, it's going to expand Mercury's ideas, okay? So any new ideas, this is a great time to brainstorm, either for yourself or within a group of people, especially within a group of people, brainstorming, coming up with ideas, letting it just kind of flow and letting it expand, letting it just be what it is. And then we have, again, Mercury going direct on the 20th at 11 degrees of Aquarius. So now let's talk about one of the biggest things happening this month is on the 17th of February. This is Saturn, and it's challenging Uranus. Now, Saturn and Uranus are quite different. Saturn, again, is about responsibility, restriction, limitation, caution, delay. Uranus is about the future. Let's go for it. Let's be unpredictable. Let's be a rebel. Let's bring in change and freedom. So they're really opposites from one another, and they're going to come together in, again, a head-butting square. A square aspect is a challenging aspect. And it's usually through challenge that change occurs, okay? If you think about times in your own life, it's usually through challenge that change occurs. Now, Saturn, if you remember, went into Aquarius in December of 2020, and Saturn stays in the sign for about 2.5 years. So it's going to be there for a while. And Uranus, the Great Awakener, the planet of change and redirection and things that are unpredictable, is in stable, secure Taurus. Not the best place for Uranus to be, because Uranus wants to break free and do all these wild things and be a rebel. And Taurus is very status quo. Taurus is very grounded. The other interesting thing about this square is that Saturn, being about responsibility, restriction, form, caution, it naturally rules Capricorn, which is an earth sign. So I find it interesting that here Saturn is in an air sign, which is not its most comfortable place. Not to mention that Saturn being in Aquarius, the air sign of Aquarius, Aquarius is the natural ruling placement for Uranus. Okay, so here's Saturn and Uranus coming to a head. Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, which Uranus normally rules. Uranus is in an earth sign of Taurus, which Saturn would be more comfortable with. But again, they're at odds with each other. So I'm going to be curious to see what happens with this. And because these are both slower moving planets, we're going to feel this for a longer time than we would with some of the personal planets like Venus and Mercury and even Mars. Usually it's 2, 3, 5 or so days max that we're going to feel an energy with those personal planets that are connecting. But with Saturn and Uranus, we're probably going to feel this building up from the very beginning of February, whatever this is about. And Saturn rules the third dimension, the old way, the old paradigm, the old patriarchal system. And Uranus says, no, let's break free of that. We want to rule the new way, the better way, the future way. We want to see fifth dimensional reality. So to me, Uranus is kind of that ruler of the fifth dimensional and higher reality of change and progress and new and innovative ways of living on the planet. And Saturn's like, nope, we like the old paradigm here. We like to stay in the old paradigm of the third dimension, and we like to follow these rules and regulations and the structure of how our society has ran. But again, the interesting thing is that Saturn is in Aquarius. So Saturn is helping to restructure or reform the Aquarian age of energy, while at the same time that Saturn in Aquarius is going to bring about some sort of challenge or butting of heads with Uranus. So again, I feel like this is breaking up the old ways and energies of the collective on the planet, and even for your own selves personally too, because it's going to affect you on a personal level depending on where it's occurring in your chart. So it's breaking up the old ways of thinking, being, doing, experiencing, and Uranus is in there trying to shake things up. It's almost like shaking you awake, like, hey, wake up, it's time to change, let's change. And Saturn saying, no, I don't want to change, I like things just being the way they are. And Uranus is like, but don't you want things to get better? Don't you want to feel freer and more alive and progress? And part of you is saying, well, yeah, I'd like all that, but I'm kind of scared of change. This is comfortable. Saturn's comfortable. So I think we're going to see that again on a personal level as well as on a collective level. Let's see if there's anything else we want to bring up. Yes, let's bring up the new and full moon really quickly here. The new moon is on the 11th of February. Now this is interesting because that's the same day that Venus and Jupiter come together. Those two planets of blessings coming together on the day of the new moon, new beginnings, planting new seeds at 23 degrees of Aquarius, the future, the collective of humanity, new ideas, new opportunities, new potentials, okay? New connections with people. So that's going to, bring us into a 2-week cycle of what are these new things that we can move towards, create, or initiate in our lives. And then the full moon is going to be on the 27th of February. Remember, February is a shorter month, so we only have 28 days for February. So the second to the last day is when we have a full moon at 8 degrees of Virgo. So the sun is at 8 degrees of Pisces, the moon is at 8 degrees of Virgo. That full moon is going to be, though, in a connection to Uranus. Now, remember, full moons, it rules our emotional nature, the moon, right? So when it's full, our emotions are more raw and more easily triggered. Now, it is in Virgo, and Virgo's more of a grounded earth sign, but with it connecting with Uranus, Uranus is, again, that rebel, that planet that likes to shake things up, make things happen, bring in change, redirect, bring in surprises. So I still think that our emotional nature is going to be, able to be triggered easily. And that Virgo energy, the full moon being in Virgo, if you think about it, the moon is our emotional nature, but Virgo is a sign that's very mental, very logical, very analytical. So not the most comfortable place for the moon to be. So our emotions, our thought processes, our perceptions may get a little bit of a shake-up and a wake-up, and we might feel a little off kilter, a little off balance when that full moon arrives. Okay, so I think those are the highlights astrologically. Let's take a look at the messages from our angels and guides from the Syrian Starseed Tarot. And as I said, before I even pulled out the Chariot to show you as far as the numerology vibration, I did choose the cards for the month, and the Chariot was the very first card. So here again, to start out the month and the month's energy, we have the Chariot, and we already know what that's about, right? We want to move forward. We are moving forward, but it might be a little slower in going than we would like. And part of that is Mercury retrograde. We still have to iron out some details. We have to rework things and reevaluate things and do all those things, pay more attention to the details and kind of iron out what we might need to iron out, first in our mind, but then, metaphorically, then on paper, basically, so to speak. But the Chariot, starting out the monthly reading to me is good. And again, especially with this rendition with the horse in the middle, that is straight away focused. There's an aspect of you that's straight away focused. You have goals in mind, at least your higher soul self does, you have this goal in mind, where you want to go, on some level who you want to be or what you want to experience. You might not know all the next steps, and that's part of these other horses going in different directions. You might be a little confused. And again, with Mercury retrograde, that might not be worked out until more towards the end of the month and into March. But this still shows that we are moving forward on our journey. So let's take a look at the next card. And the next card came out as 2 cards here. So the first of that 2 cards is the Adept of Orbs. The Adept of Orbs. Now, the Adept in this Syrian Starseed Tarot deck is the Knight. Okay, so we have the court cards, the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. The Adept is the Knight. So this is like the Knight of Swords. So we're talking here about new thoughts, new ideas. You can see that this person here is sitting, and that's interesting in and of itself because knights are usually active. Knights are kind of that active, almost like the warrior, the knight on the horse galloping forward. But this knight is actually stationary. He's kind of in a contemplation mode, which I guess makes sense because that number 7 vibration for February is about doing more internal self-reflecting, right? More meditation and contemplation. So here he is, the knight, in this contemplation mode on a rock, it looks like, next to a tree out in nature. And he's looking at or manifesting or visualizing or envisioning these new ideas and these new thoughts. He's kind of creating these new visions with his mind. And that's the first step to manifestation, right? You have the thought, you see the vision with your mind, you imagine it basically. And then when you put action to whatever that thought or idea is, then you can start to bring it into form. But here it is, we have ideas. So in your contemplation, in your alone time, in your meditation, in your connecting with your higher soul self, which is all that number 7 energy for February, that's where you're going to be able to see the vision of where you want to go next, what you want to do next, what you want to experience next. And actually, I'm looking closely at what he is envisioning. If you look at that, and hopefully the glare isn't too much, but here he is on the horse. As I said, nights are usually more active. So here he's more still, and he's envisioning what it's going to be like when he's more active, when he's moving forward, when he's galloping forward towards his goal, or when he's galloping forward feeling more free, that freedom energy of Aquarius, that you want to feel free. You want to be free to be who you are, experience what you want to experience, take the next step that you want to take without any restrictions or limitations. So he's in that contemplation mode of that next step. Now, the card that came out with it is another adept, but it's the Adept of Crystals. Now, the crystal suit is the suit of Earth, or the suit of Pentacles. So this is the night that starts to bring something into manifestation. So very interesting that he came out with the Adept of Orbs, or the thoughts, the new thoughts and ideas that this night is having. This night right with him is assisting and bringing it into manifestation. And he's using in this suit a beautiful, wonderful, magical crystal. He's got, to me, like some sort of a clear quartz crystal in his hands, to me, which is a magic kind of tool. And you can see behind him there's a castle. So, to me, this would be envisioning the castle is representative of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. The castle is the blessing. The castle is the materialization of whatever it is that you are envisioning, seeing, imagining, and wanting to materialize or manifest into your life. And again, the Adept of Crystals, he's going to take those next steps on the earthly plane, the practical steps, the tangible steps, to make that happen. Now, to me, in this particular rendition of the deck, he's got a little bit of magic behind him. He's got some magical help here. So whatever that magical help might be, it might be other people, it might be your magic tools that you have, your magic intentions. Maybe it's taking a class. Maybe the magic tool is taking a class to learn something new so that you do have the information or know how to take the next steps to materialize your dreams. Whatever that magical tool is, it's something that you can utilize here in this month of February. Okay? And then the last card here is another Major Arcana, and it's Major Arcana 1. And in this deck, it's called Indigo. Now, in the traditional tarot, a lot of you know that this is the Magician card, the Magician. We were just talking about the magical tool that Adept of Crystals was holding in his hands. Now, this being the Magician card, again represented by the Indigo here, and the Indigo child is holding a crystal in his hands as well, his or her hands. Now, again, what is an indigo? If we were to define indigo, it's a child of a higher vibration that comes in with a little bit of rebelliousness, and it's that needed rebelliousness to make the changes that are needed on a collective level. Indigos usually buck authority, and that's because that the old authoritarian ways, most of the time, are becoming less valid. And we're moving into something where we're looking for equality for all instead of just a few. And the indigos that are already, mature and in adulthood are going to make sure that happens. Now, even the younger indigos, right? The generations that are growing into adulthood here in the next 10, 20 years. they're also a part of this magic energy of what's going to help to transform our planet in the long run. Now, as far as what does this mean on a personal level, it means you have the magic within you. Again, perhaps you need some tools, and whether the tools are, again, classes or assistance from other people or whatever it might be. Use your magic tools as the indigo, which is looking for change, someone who's got like a real take charge authority. I'm going to make it happen. I'm not going to let anybody hold me back or hold me down or take away my freedom or take away my power anymore. That's what the indigo is going to be all about. You have the magic within you as this magician, as this indigo, to create your own reality. So again, on a collective level, we're creating a new reality and a new earth. And on a personal level, you are creator, co-creating with the divine to create something new for yourself as well. Magically creating something new for yourself as well. All right, let's take a look at whatever messages, your special message, depending on your stone of choice here. And that first stone, that first special intention pendant was the Golden Healer. So I'm just shuffling these here. Golden Healer. Special message for Golden Healer people. Okay, I guess I'll hold it up to the camera. I thought, having it against my heart chakra, I thought I would feel it, but I usually do it like this for everybody to kind of be involved in the process, I guess. And, okay, this one's calling my attention. That's sticking up here. The Cosmic Enchantress. And I'm going to show it to you here in a second. It says the Cosmic Enchantress I thought it said witchcraft, but it says wishcraft. I attract a steady flow of abundance. Okay, the Enchantress. Wishcraft. I attract a steady flow of abundance. And she's got some sort of magical tool in her hands too. So it seems with this theme of cards here, maybe we need to use our crystals. Maybe we need to use our crystal wands. Maybe we need to use a Palo Santo stick or a smudge stick, or, maybe we need to use something that we consider our magic tool. And maybe it's just our own hands, right? Where we can kind of emanate that magic, right? A lot of healers, we do long distance healing and we use our hands to kind of emanate or channel through the energy. So whether it's an actual tool of some sort that you're using, could be a pendulum, could be, what else could it be? It could be cards like this, whatever it might be for you, using some sort of tool or using your own hands to attract a steady flow of abundance. This is you being a magnetizer of abundance, prosperity, and blessings, but using the magic within yourself to do so. So to me, opening up your heart chakra, this is in front of our heart chakra, and this is where our magic lies, right? Our magic, our healing abilities come from the heart chakra. When we open and expand the heart chakra, we attract. We're more open to attracting and magnetizing to us the blessings out there that the universe has to bestow upon us. So do what you can to open up your heart. Now, she also has a star on her third eye. Okay, so meditation, opening up the heart chakra. Meditation, opening up the third eye chakra. Envisioning what you desire, seeing it, feeling it with the heart chakra, putting positive, joyous emotions to it, and then allowing it to come to you, attracting it to you. Okay? All right, for those of you that chose the Blue Aqua Aura Quartz, Blue Aqua Aura, special message card for the Blue Aqua Aura. Just opening my eyes every once in a while to see if any card stands out to me. Okay, this one definitely. The Mystic, and it says magic underneath it. I weave my magic and surrender to the universe. A lot of magic energy here. The Magician, we got the Cosmic Enchantress, we've got the Mystic here with magic. So this is really going to be a magical month. if you believe and if you use that energy within yourself that we all have to create and attract the blessings, into our lives. I weave my magic and surrender to the universe. To me, this is setting positive intentions, whether through writing or speaking. This is doing a magical ceremony, perhaps at the new or full moon or both. This is, maybe taking some sort of an action. Weaving your magic is taking an action, but then you have to let it go and surrender. Don't push, don't force, because it does say, weave my magic and then surrender to the universe. Okay, so you're putting out some sort of action or intention, and then you're allowing the universe to bring something back to you. You're allowing something to unfold in divine timing. That's how you're going to weave your magic for this month of February. Okay. Yeah, you can see she's even got her hands here, like she's putting forth some sort of energy or intention here. And then the other hand is behind her, where she's going to now, after she puts that forward energy out, she's going to stand back and allow and allow it to, allow herself to receive something. Okay. All right. And then for those of you that chose the citrine people, special message for February for citrine people. Okay, this one keeps calling my attention, citrine people. Athusa, sun goddess, liftoff. I'm going to hope I'm saying that right. Aethusa, Athusa, sun goddess, liftoff. I open my senses to feel delicious pleasure and passion. Look, all that gold and yellow and even tinges of red in there. That's all the lower three chakras, right? Our sense of self-confidence and empowerment with the solar plexus, our passion, our creative self-expression of the sacral, and our magical manifestation abilities to bring something into shape and form with the root chakra. It's grounding, it's manifesting something, right? And liftoff, I open my senses to feel delicious pleasure and passion. Well, that's definitely sacral chakra, right? You have to feel that passion for life. Feel that passion within yourself. Create with that passion. When we create with passion, when we create with emotion, when we attach the positive emotions to our creations, that's what's going to lift it off. That's what's going to make it explode and expand, and that's what's going to inspire. That's what's going to lift you higher. So it's going to lift you higher, but it's also going to lift your creation higher. It's going to really allow things to really manifest. It's going to allow you to be seen, right? If she lifts off and she rises, she's going to be more able to be seen by the masses, more able to be seen by many. The higher one goes, metaphorically or literally, the more we're going to be able to see them and see what they're creating and see what they're doing. And we're going to feel inspired. We're going to feel inspired for them, but we're also going to feel inspired for ourselves. So open your senses, open the emotional body senses, and that's going to help to fuel your taking off, so to speak. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this monthly intuitive reading. I would really appreciate it if you like my weekly and monthly YouTube readings, or if you've gotten any service with me, a healing session, a reading, or if you've purchased any of my special intention products, the pendants, the gem elixirs, the essential oil sprays. I would really appreciate if you would all go onto Google and leave a Google review for me, okay? So under Sacred Soul Empowerment, which is my website, which is my business, Sacred Soul Empowerment, if you could leave a Google review of any product or service or the enjoyment of my videos, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated, because that will help me to help more people. That's what I'm here to do. I want to help as many people as I possibly can, and in order to do that, I need your help, because, of course, we operate within, this dimension right now, although it's raising to higher and higher dimensions. But the more Google reviews I can get, the more people will find me, the more I will be able to assist and help people and share the information that I share. So I would greatly appreciate that. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you that have already supported me in various ways throughout the years. I'm very thankful for all of you and grateful for your support. So I send you all lots of love and light and many, many blessings of prosperity and abundance from all directions and dimensions of time and space. Namaste, everyone.